I was to speak to the soul of each person through their divine nature with symbols, patterns, and design.
Welcome to the Inspirational Art Association podcast, a place where artists from around the world share what inspires them with Cindy Lattimore, an art curator and promoter who brings with her 13 years of experience. Settle in, get comfortable, and enjoy the behind-the-scenes exchange with not only world-class artists, but up-and-coming talent as well.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of Inspirational Art Association podcast. And we are lucky enough to have Wendy Boomhower with us today. Welcome, Wendy.
Hi there.
Hello. So Wendy, let me read a little bit about her. She is a professional graphic designer and artist working in both the United States and Great Britain. Her distinctive style pays homage to her roots in Northumberland, England. And the color palette, patterns, and symbolisms emanate stories of a sacred and holy nature inspired by the illuminated manuscripts on Lindisfarne Island.
Lindisfarne.
Fawn. Okay.
Yes, Lindisfarne.
Well, I'm anxious to hear about your journey of how we're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
yes.
you. All right. Well, here it goes. My art journey is not just my art journey. It's a journey of art and faith together. They're inseparable. They're just intertwined. I can't separate them. So when you hear about one, you're going to hear about the other too. And you've set the scene a little bit. I was born in the most northern county of England, which is called Northumberland. And there's a little island just off there called Holy Island, which you've mentioned. And it's a beautiful island. And it's actually one of the most important islands that were there for England. It was where Christianity really was birthed. And so I'm going to put that on the shelf a minute, okay? Because I come round to that in a minute. I don't know. I just started painting and drawing before I can remember, which I think a lot of artists, especially artists of faith, are like. Okay, so I was really interested in people and different cultures and how people look different and their traditional dress. So I was looking at patterns and shapes and that kind of thing. So while I was doing that, I was also exploring different churches. So I'm going off as a little kid to like the Methodist Church and the Church of England and evangelical churches. And my parents were just letting me, which I don't know. I don't know why they did. Maybe it was better than other things that kids could get into. So that's my journey. And I was having an interesting and fun time. My passion for art took me to art college. And I did a bachelor's of art in graphic design and illustration. But what's interesting, God is always mindful of everything. While I was there, I come across this book called Understanding the Book of Revelation. And I only knew children's Bible stories, but for some reason I bought it and I really enjoyed it. And it became relevant. It wasn't an old dusty thing from the past. It was speaking about my time and about the future. And it was all done in symbols. And I'm thinking, this is the language for me here. All right. So that made me continue my journey looking at churches and everything like that. I had no direction from anybody else. Now, during that time, I also had a vision in a dream. This is all new to me. And in the vision, I was at the bottom of a quarry and Jesus was there and he indicated for me to look. And I looked and there was paintings on walls, paintings of nature, animals and that kind of thing. And during the dream, I understood what that was. And I just looked at Jesus and I just loved him. When I woke up, I had this beautiful feeling of joy, but I had no idea at all what the meaning of that was at all.
Oh, wow.
It's funny, isn't it, how that happens? But I actually trusted that I would know again one day. Graduated, searched around, and then met two missionaries, and they answered my questions that I had, things that I wasn't getting anywhere else. So I start my career. I'm a graphic designer one day, this is where my revelation comes. I was washing the dishes, Cindy, and I either wash the dishes or do the laundry, and that's when the Lord speaks to me. And I was told that that vision that I had was prophetic. And it then it went on to reveal to me that where I was working at the time when I accepted the gospel was in the Museum of Natural History. I was working on the ground floor, making murals around the walls of nature, birds, animals. And that's when I accepted the gospel. The vision prophecy had been fulfilled. And that was just amazing how the Lord intertwines all those things together. Fast forward, I'm nearly done. Fast forward, 2001. I'm about to marry an American and come over to the United States. And I'm nervous. And so I'm praying to God. And I get this thought in my mind, are you prepared to bring people to Christ through your art? And I said, yes. But then he gives me nothing else, that blank that blank canvas. So for a long time, I'm toying with it. I build up another design career, but I'm still not getting there. All right. But what happens is pieces start to get put together. And the pieces are, you love to feast on the word of God. You love patterns and design. You have a career in graphic design where you're creating logos, symbols for people that illustrate their business and so on. And then I had done about 10 years of research into symbolism. So the pieces were starting to come together, but I wasn't quite getting it. Now, to round it all off, in 2015, my mum, who's in England, had a stroke. I go over to England to be with her, and to be with her until she goes to heaven. And so Mark's still working in America. So to support that financially, I get a job with English Heritage. I'm working in a castle and a priory, and I have to learn as much as I can about it to explain to people. My attention comes to the Lindisfarne Gospels and the illuminated manuscripts again. So this is many years later. And I'm thinking, there's something in this. There is something in this, and I don't know what, but there's something in it. My husband comes to visit. I take him to Durham Cathedral. He takes a rest break, and I go wandering, and I see this banner. And this banner is about the illuminated manuscripts of Lindisfarne Gospel. It tells you about the monks who do it, and it tells you about the common people who are illiterate, who can't read, but can understand symbols and shapes and design. And this illuminated manuscript speaks to their divine nature. And I start to sob. Because now something's happened. And I wrote this down. Do you mind me reading it?
No, go ahead, please.
I had just witnessed confirmation of my calling. I was to speak to the soul of each person through their divine nature with symbols, patterns, and design. Eventually, I got it. And I've created a new art style, which is called Sacra Nouveau, the new sacred. Thank you for listening. That was my story.
Oh, intriguing. Very intriguing. Thank you for sharing that. So that brings us to the piece of artwork entitled God Shall Wipe Away All Tears. That very eye-catching. I was just drawn to it immediately. Please tell us how you came about putting this piece together.
Well, obviously, the book of Revelation is very important to me. And I like the reassurance there. Actually, it was at the time of the invasion of Ukraine and the tears, and the crying that was happening there. And the actual scripture is from Revelation 21:4. And I'm just reading it out. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, but the former things are passed away. And I wanted to illustrate that. My heart was for them, but it was for everyone, because we all suffer pain and sorrow and death and so on. The outer circle is just the square, which is the four corners of the earth, and everything inside that's golden is celestial and heavenly. That's the promise of bringing us from the chaos into God's love and protection. So that's it in short.
Oh, well, I'm anxious to see it in person in the exhibit that you'll be coming to in a few short weeks. And how did you find out to apply for my show?
Yes, it's a very quick, interesting journey. I had been juried into the Church History Museum International Art Competition this year.
I saw
And
that.
so you do that, and then you go, okay, what next? So I was praying about it, and I did some research, and then this Inspirational Art Association came up, and I kind of connected with you a little bit. But I was just praying, and I got a spiritual witness that I needed to join and at least try to be juried into this showcase. And it's just been wonderful. You guys are just so beautiful and wonderful. And I feel so blessed that I can get a chance to showcase the rest of my work.
Oh, I'm so excited you get to come and that you were able to fly in for the mandatory meeting and able to meet some of the artists. I'm only able to have 34, 35 be able to exhibit at one time. But I always pray to make sure I have the right group together and have that. I'm a believer in the right frequency, the energy that, and also I'm, as you talked about your journey, I remember I was reading a book a few years ago with my son. He had mentioned it's called Catching Fire. And it's about being in the zone, being, when I'm one, my head and my heart have to be one and when they are in one, I'm unstoppable, whatever I'm supposed to be doing, with the help. I have the other side help me, I know at times, but when you talked about that and being in that one spot, when you're over there helping your mother and the emotions come through,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
There's no doubt, Cindy, is there? And this journey's been great with you and with all the other lovely artists too. The spirit is really strong there, and I feel really honoured to be part of that this year.
Oh.
And my question for you, if you don't mind, it's just kind of like, what is your vision for this show? Has your vision changed over the years, or does it stay the same?
I think the first show I did, it has leaped. I mean, it's not the same. It is not the same. And I'm one, everyone knows that I just don't keep things the same. I mean, I do. If it works, I don't mess with it. But like this year, doing the podcast, get to know, I'm always thinking of what I can do to help promote the artist. Yes. And every year there's something different. And then, we were in the Bonneville room, which is down off the lobby in the Joseph Smith Memorial Building for the first 12 years or 10 years. And so I finally had it where I could set it up, and the flow of the crowds was just perfect, absolutely perfect. And then the next year, hey, we're closing the Bonneville room up because we're making offices in there. And I'm like, oh, well, where are you going to put me? Don't put me up on the seventh floor, where nobody. No, you're going to be on the mezzanine off where we had the meeting at. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, having 3 different rooms. And of course we have that lobby area. And I'm like, whoa, this is going to be interesting. But what choice did I have? Yeah. And so I just, and I should tell some of my returning artists, be patient with me. The first year, there'll be some hiccups, but we'll finally get it going. Well, this will be our 3rd year and it closes the December 31st for a couple of years for renovations. So I do have a couple places that I'm seriously thinking about. One of them is actually the Capitol. They'd like to have me up there at the Capitol.
Never been there.
Yes, it's beautiful, beautiful, and not too far because I have location is very important. Yeah. So, so I'm always, so if you look at from the very first show, and I'm just thinking, I don't know what to do with this because I did, but I hadn't put my fingers into it and really tasted what was going on. And then every year I just, oh, we're going to do this. And then it wasn't until about, I remember, so this is one thing about me that you don't know, and those that have been around me the last few years know, is that if I put my mind to something, what it was I decided to have the dinner, the awards presentation, because we always give 3 awards out to individuals. One year we had it to Gordon Bowen of McGarry Bowen Advertising Agency in New York, who does a lot of the advertising for the church. He did the campaign for when they decided that we do not want to be called Mormons anymore, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So anyway, I've had those kind of people come speak, plus music people. Last year was the piano guys. But anyway, when I first mentioned that, of course, I mentioned it to my husband. He says, "Oh, well, this is like the 1st of October." I said, this show just needs to be upped because I'm making it a classy event, I guess. Yeah. And I was talking to, you'll meet him, Scott Sumners. He is a photographer. You see his work all over the church. Well, through the years, we've just become friends. And he, and I mentioned it to him just to get some ideas. And he said, "Yeah, that'll probably be good to start next year." I go, no, this year. He goes, "Well, you only have 2 minutes." I go, "So it'll come together." And I did, and it has been a mega hit. It's always sold out. And then to incorporate inspirational art, just not art on the walls. There is artistic with the music, and of course I play the harp,
which I didn't know.
And so I've had some where I always have some years a harp playing during the reception and so forth. So I just always trying to up it. And
yes, I love that. So it's a continuous vision here.
Yes.
It's an evolving vision. I love it. Well, thank you. I really appreciate all that you're doing.
Well, and I enjoy, I get a sense of accomplishment. I think that's just one of the talents. I'm a good organizer.
Yes.
And if someone tells me to do something and I get it done, and if I have a pet peeve, it's like if somebody asks me to get something done and I do it and they went ahead and did it at the same time, I'm like, well, then don't ask me, because I can use my energies elsewhere. But I mean, that doesn't happen very often. But once in a while, I was like, okay, you can't do that to me. I don't work that. I don't play well with others when that happens. But I've been really lucky. I have people that help me, that love to put aside and come. I have my one daughter that lives in Houston, Texas now. She flies out every year to help me. She's my right-hand person. Good. And, so I don't have to worry about anything. She's very organized as well. Nice. And then I have other, friends that like to come down and hang out and get to know the artist and so forth. So, I've just been really lucky to be surrounded by good people that are very supportive. Yes. And you met my husband at the mandatory meeting. He's very, very supportive as well. So yeah, where do I see it going? I don't know. Ask me next year if I'll be in a different building. We will be.
Yes.
So we shall see. One of the suggestions, and I went to look at it, was at this mansion that's just like a block up, but then it's all they park for you, and I'm like, oh, we have too many people for that. That's just not gonna
Yes.
So. Okay. But it's going to work out, because you know what, you have to put the Lord. Yes. It's inspiration. It's for Him. It's a testimony of Him. So I don't worry. I don't stay up at night, and I'm not a worried person. I don't worry.
That's good, because you're hit with complications. So that's good that you're not a worried person.
Well, the same Scott Sumner told me once. He goes, "Cindy, you'll find that you will have opposition," and I do. I will have opposition every single time. Yeah. But you know what? I have learned over the years that that's a compliment, that I'm doing something right.
Exactly. Otherwise, you would pay no attention to you at all. You're pushing these buttons.
So it's been a great learning experience for me, and I'm a pretty mellow person. I have patience. I don't get uptight about things. So, I don't jump all over anybody if they're, but I am, you can,
Here we go.
there's a rule, you follow my rules, we get along great.
I'll do that. I'm very obedient.
Yep. So, that life is great. And when and that's why I go over the rules when we have our mandatory meetings. So there is no question, because
Yes.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings that day, but you don't mess with me, nope. And you sign the contract. Let's
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like clarity, so that works very well for me completely. So there you go. It's working. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you get to come and hang out with us. And like you asked me, can I hang out all day long? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love for you to do that. November 30th, it starts. That's you have to have a ticket to get in and make reservations, but daily, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, from 10 to 9, daily, open to the public. And it is so worth it. It's a family tradition for a lot of people that come. They just know it's that day. I don't really advertise a whole lot because I rather put the money back into the show. But people, it's just word of mouth. It has just been a word of mouth that, and that's the best advertising that you can do.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited, and thank you for bringing me along on the journey.
Well, I'm so grateful that you get to come and have a new friend from across the waters.
There you go. There you go.
Well, thank you so much, and we will be seeing you in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.